If you can do these 5 things, your bike will ride better than most people's on the trail, and most riders don't even know how to do them. For the first thing, we're gonna do a bolt check, and you just check all your bolts on your bike to make sure they're all nice and snug before you go riding. This can save you from your bike falling apart on the trail, and it only takes less than 5 minutes. It's really simple, so you might as well do it. For this, you'll either need a set of hex keys or a multi-tool. I will be using my multi-tool, even though I do have a nice set of hex keys, just so that if you only have a multi-tool, you know you can still do it. Torque wrenches are really helpful, but they can be a little pricey. I do have one, and I do check all my bolts with the torque wrench. But this bolt check is just to make sure you don't have anything real loose on your bike. So all you do is you find your bolts, and then you just go around, and you just make sure they're all tight. Go up to the stem. Make sure nothing's real loose. Especially if you have a full suspension, you want to make sure that your linkage bolts are fully tight. This one was definitely a little loose. It can happen. Go around, check all your bolts. If your brakes use a 6-bolt rotor, then make sure you have a T25. Go around, check all those. Go to your brake calipers. Make sure they're nice and tight. You don't want your brakes to fail. If you want to see a review of this multi-tool, I do have a review on it. I'll link it right here. Now we're going to check tire pressure. This is really important. This can either make or break your ride, since your tires should be the only contact between you and the ground. If tire pressure is too hard, then you'll be pinging off of everything and slipping around corners. If it's too soft, then you're going to be denting rims, blowing up tires and tubes if you do run tubes, and just spraying sealant everywhere if you use tubeless. So all we're going to do is find your valve. If you line up your logos with your valve, it can be a little easier to find it. Then you just put the tire gauge on there. You just go around, check your front tire as well. Front tire can be softer than your rear because your rear has more weight on it typically and is more susceptible to hard hits. I run my tire pressure at about 18, 19 in the front and about 20, 21 in the rear, depending on the trail. There are multiple tire calculators out there. If you have a Trek, Trek has their own. If you have Victoria tires, Victoria has theirs. There's a lot of tire pressure gauge calculators out there. You just put your weight in, or you can just experiment with it. Just start at like 25 in the rear, 23 in the front, depending on your weight, and then just work down or up from there depending on if your tire's too soft or too hard. Now we're going to set sag. For this, you'll need a shock pump. I'll link this one in the video description below. I like it a lot. It is a analog one, so it's not going to be digital, so it's not as accurate as a digital one, but it is a whole lot cheaper. So to set your sag, you'll need to take your bike off the stand if you're in a stand. If you use a stand. Oopsie. And then you move your O-rings all the way down. It can help to have someone holding the bike for you or leaning up against something, but otherwise you just do it this way. You get your balance, stand, come off. Track standing definitely helps with this, so if you're able to track stand, this will help. So just kind of bounce around a bit and then move the O-rings and then carefully hop off. And then lift your bike up because sometimes it can be a little bit off. Unlike the fork, your rear travel is still in millimeters, so if your bike says you have 150 millimeters of travel in the rear, it doesn't actually mean that your shock's stroke length is 150 millimeters, but it's 150 millimeters of how far the back wheel travels. So on here you won't actually have 150 millimeters because of ratios, so you just have to measure. It's typically more like 15 millimeters for me. But on the fork, you do actually have a 1-to-1 ratio. So this is actually 150 millimeters. So you just go, and then whatever millimeters your sag calculator came up with, that's what you want it to be. If you don't have enough sag, then you need to take out some air. But if you have too much sag, then you need to add air to make the fork harder. Setting sag is one of the most important things you can do on your bike when you get it, so I definitely recommend it. Bike shops will typically help you set up your sag when you first get there. Change anything in your riding gear, then you'll definitely want to reset your sag. or if you just want to play around with it, it is something definitely to play around with. If you want your bike to feel more playful and poppy, then you'll want to have a little less sag. If you want it to be more planted and grounded, you'll definitely want some more sag. Make sure you don't have too much sag though, because then the suspension can't do its job properly. Now I'm going to show you how to realign your brake calipers. If you've ever had that really annoying tick, 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 tick sound, this is probably from your brake caliper rubbing. It is really subtle and sometimes hard to hear. If your caliper is out of alignment a little bit, this should fix it. So all you have to do is go to your brake caliper, then you just loosen these two bolts. This is where a dedicated set of hex wrenches comes in real easy and nice. Be a little hard to get in here sometimes. You just loosen both the bolts, wiggle around the caliper, and you go up here, squeeze your back brake, and that will align the caliper. You just tighten the bolts back down. Depending on your bike's model and layout of brakes, this will be easier or harder. There you go. Now you shouldn't have that tick, 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 tick sound, and it should sound real nice. Now I'm going to show you how to check your brake pads. Your brake pads is what stop you, so they're really important. If they're out of pad material, then they can't stop you anymore. So you want that they still have life left in them. So for mine, I have to take off this little clip. Then I can unscrew it. You can also just look straight down in there and see if there's still pad material left. Other types of brakes will just have a pin that goes through and then it bends, so you just have to bend the pin back and then pull it out. Removing the tire really helps in this scenario right here. Otherwise it can be kind of hard to get them out. So these do still have pad material left on them. You can still see it. Once it gets past this metal piece right here, this clip, you definitely want to make sure that you replace them, because otherwise it will be metal on metal. Put your pads back in. Having the wheel off definitely helps with this. You just put them back in the way you took them out. Put the pin in, and then bend it if that's your model, or you just screw it in like this. Like that. Make sure if you use this tiny little clip that you do put it back on, because these can back out. And this clip keeps them from backing out all the way, and that way your brake pads don't fall out while you're riding. And that's the 5 basic maintenance skills for you to learn. Go ahead and check out this video right here where I'll be reviewing the multi-tool that I used in this video. I'll see you over there.